How you doing, buddy? It's been a long time.
I'm doing so lovely, so lovely.
You're looking handsome as ever.
Yeah, I look a little homeless. It's been a busy couple of weeks. The wife and I went on vacation, and now I am home for a few days until Wednesday, and then I'm off to Iowa on Wednesday for a onboard booth. So how fun is this?
Selling shots. Right, let me just share the stream.
Yeah, go ahead. And all you people that are joining in, why don't you give it a share too? We never ask for people to share the stream.
Give it a like and a share. All the 0 viewers that are actually watching at the moment.
Yeah, well, sometimes
we have one viewer. That's probably me. Hold on a minute. If I go out, does it go off again?
Let's find out.
Who is the one viewer? Let us know if you can hear us in the comments. We have 2 viewers. There you go. These people want the Neil. These people are in early to get the Neil's Fine giveaway.
They are.
Lil Chris. Lil Chris needs it. He struggles with his mental game.
Be nice to our one listener.
We got 2.
I don't know if I've ever seen that name before. Hula Muchacho. I don't think I've ever seen that name before.
No, I haven't either. He wants the Neil's Fine and free stuff.
I've seen Jerry Rathman. I've seen that one. It's been a while, though, I feel like.
So anyway, Nate, what we're going to talk about today? Not a lot's been happening in the pool world, really, has it?
Well, I suspect we're probably just going to bring up a discussion, then we're going to start arguing, and then we're going to start making fun of each other.
And I'll win.
Probably.
Yeah. I've got some ideas. How about we talk about the Hanoi Open and the Reyes Cup and the Mosconi Cup? And
how about Johann Chua?
How about Johann Chua?
He's been knocking at the door. He's been in the semifinals of probably the 5 of the last 6 events, and he finally gets there. Finally gets it done.
He's absolutely on fire. I mean, I remember. I mean, I knew who Chua was, obviously, but I never really put him up there in those top echelons. And then he played World Cup of Pool last year with Aranis, and he basically carried him all the way through at the final. Aranis played great as well, but he was just the same. I thought, Jesus Christ, this kid's got a level. If he can show this continually, I mean, and he's starting to do it.
He's got a gear.
He has a crazy gear. Some of the shots he pulls off, and he's so good to watch as well. He's so good for the game. He's got himself in there in my little group of favorites. I gotta admit, I think he's amazing.
Well, I've known of him, of course, for 3, 4, 5 years, and I've talked to him maybe a combined 15 words up until the U.S. Open this year, and he was on the Q-Tech table, just kind of messing around, just shooting incredibly difficult cut shots, length of the table into those 4-inch pockets, and just showing some of the shots that are just you wouldn't think that are possible, but they are, and he's just shooting them like they're hangers, and he's just cutting balls. He puts a ball on the end rail, 1 ball inside of a diamond, the first diamond on the short rail, and then puts the cue ball on the diamond. So basically the object ball is 1 diamond to the right of the cue ball, and he cuts it into the left-hand pocket over the 3. He cuts it 3 diamonds to the left with right-hand spin.
Yeah.
And basically throws the cut into the pocket. And he's like, no, it's not even a hard shot. Here, let me show you. And he goes up and hangs the first one, misses the second one by, I don't know, like a diamond, and then drills the 3rd shot. It's just like the talent this guy has. It's like, I don't know what is separating him from, and maybe there is nothing at this point separating him from, that top tier of, Fedor Gorst and Josh Fillers and, those types of players.
I think we have to accept that he's in there now.
I mean, he's been there. I mean, he's been at the semifinals of so many tournaments in a row now that maybe you do have to. Maybe we do have to start putting him into that category. I mean, we'll find out.
We sat here talking about Sanchez Ruiz when he started his little run. And you were kind of thinking, in the start, you're thinking, he's had a good couple of months. And that good couple of months lasted a year and a half. And eventually you had to turn and say, you know what, this guy is the best in the world at the moment. And I mean, Chua, the way he's playing and the results he's having,
it's rather difficult to not put him into that category.
Right at this moment in time, you have to put him up there in that top echelon of the game. And I just don't. I don't know. He's obviously a confidence player. He's a flow player. You know, it's like a lot of these Filipinos are kind of thing. It's just the way he plays plays the game.
Well, let's put it this way: he on the final day when the money is made, he beats Carlo Beato 11-5, and he beats Johann Chua 13-7. So in total, he won 24-12. He doubled up his opponents. Carlo Beato
against Beato and Co. I mean.
All right.
He just gets into this flow at the table, and you just think nothing's safe.
No.
You know, he's got every single shot. You know, but he plays the game in a way that he has to be in that groove. It's a fine line when you play the game the way he plays it. You know, it can go wrong quickly. You know, but he's just flowing now, and it's just easy for him, and everything's just flying in the middle of the pocket, and he's just coming out. He's playing insane junk shots. He's so creative with his shots. He played a positional shot where you had to play around three off the three ball. We had to play around three rails between the 6 and the 8 that were on the long rail, and it had to be so precise. There was so many things that could go wrong there, and he played it absolutely perfect. It's just like when it just reminded me. I was watching him play, and I'm thinking, this is what he was doing at the World Cup of Pool. Just when you're thinking he's stuck, he's coming out with some stupid shots that are coming off, and he's leaving himself plumb and then just tapping them in and finishing it off. And it's just, amazing to see. He plays the game. He plays the game the way we want to see the game played, and I think he's going to be a big player in building the sport. I'm looking forward to seeing him playing in the Reyes Cup. He's got that kind of game as well, that dynamic game that's good for the short races. It'd be good for the crowd. The way the crowd reacted to him as well. You know, when he's had a tough time the last year, he's been one of the players that's been most affected by the bans and all the stupid politics that's going on in the sport, kind of thing. And I thought it was very apt and very poignant that he was a guy to walk away with the trophy in Hanoi. And you could see the crowd. I mean, the crowd were right behind Co against Jason, but you saw that in the final, it was, you know what? If there's somebody we want a fairy tale story here to win it, they were behind Chua, you know, and you saw what it meant to him as well. And I mean, I was rooting for Jason all the way, but if it wasn't going to be him, I was very, very happy to see Chua winning it. Yeah,
that 7-ball that Jason missed is probably going to haunt him for a while.
8-ball, I think.
Oh yeah, the 8-ball. Yeah,
straight in 8. Yeah.
That one's going to haunt him for a little while because that was 7-1 if he makes that.
Listen, Jason's angry. He's very angry. I was messaging back and forward with him the entire event, and then at the end of that match, I sent him a message just to, you know, he's still got to play the Reyes Cup and stuff like that. Just, you know, it was a sick way to lose, and he's gone radio silent. Watch out for Jason Shaw at the Reyes Cup. I think you could see fireworks. I think he's quite an angry man at the moment. Angry with himself, angry with the game, and when he gets like that and he gets the fire in his belly, then you could see some fireworks at the Reyes Cup. And I think I'm interested to see exactly what happens there.
Well, he was the defending champion, and I'm sure you know, you're going up 7-1 in that. You're not thinking I'm defending this title at that point, but you're feeling pretty good. And you know, Jason felt
like he was going to repeat. He felt like he was going to defend. He felt like he was in a position to. He felt like he was playing well enough to.
It's been a few years since it's been a few years since he's caught and maintained his gear. For more than like a tournament. I mean, it's probably been 4 or 5 years since he's really stayed at that level. And
he's done it every year between October and December. And December, he's done it every single year because there's a tournament coming up that he gets really up for and passionate for. I think he struggles to keep that intensity for the entire season.
Well, he's getting a little bit older. He's got a couple kids. He's got a life out. He owns a business.
He's got other life. You see him traveling the world a lot. You see on Facebook and social media. He does a lot of holidays. He goes. He's at the moment he's thinking about going and up in the house and going to Dubai and stuff like that. He's got a lot of stuff going on he doesn't need pool for money anymore. I think his business is doing very, very well. He's got other interests. Yep. So he's got a
great collection of sponsors behind him.
Exactly, and I think he's in a position where to stay motivated for the entire year is difficult for him. But then when it gets round to this time of year, then he sees Mosconi on the horizon, and then the fire starts to build inside him, and then he starts to get on a roll. And he's done that pretty much every year, and I think he'll continue to do that as long as he's one of the mainstays in the Mosconi Cup. And I think once Mosconi Cup's finished, then he has a little bit of a dip. He has a little bit of a rest. He switches off a little bit, and then he'll go and play the occasional tournament. But he's not really there. I get the feeling he's not really there.
Mostly goes through the motions.
Yeah.
Well, we'll welcome in Ray. What's going on, Ray?
How's it going, guys? What did I miss? Is there anything going on in the pool world? Anything?
We're just talking about how amazing it was that Chua won the Hanoi Open.
The guy's an incredible player. What are you going to do?
No, but also the storyline behind it with the whole politics and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of poetic, right? Like I think he earned a lot of credit. Somebody had shared a quote or something from a group of people that said, I think some of the Vietnamese players, he stood up for us, so we stand for him. You know what I mean? He's earned a lot of fans, I think, in that part of the pool world. So pretty cool.
Well, before we move on, let's remind people, Jim, that we're giving away when are we going to do that? When are we going to give away this Terminator?
Well, we can do it whenever you like. We can do it now if you want. We can wait another 10 minutes or so and see if other people join us. Shall we wait a little bit and see if we get more people?
Let's wait a little while.
Surprise worth winning. We don't want anyone to miss out on the opportunity.
Yeah. We got 25 people in here. Let's give it a share so we can get this out. Jim, what actually is going to be given away during this podcast? Well, you better stick around.
During the podcast last week, I got a message from Niels during the podcast, and as people may know or may not know, Niels has his own online college, the Terminator College. Basically, if you want to learn how to play a jump shot the best, you go to somebody like Fedor. If you want to learn how to break the best you can, you go to somebody like Shane or Tyler or also Fedor. If you want to learn about the mental side of the game, you go to somebody like Niels. And he's created an entire college of different sides to the mental game. Now you can buy the entire package, but it's also in smaller little semi packages. And he's created a new one, which will be added to the Terminator College, about attitude. And what he's offered is that particular package we will give away. You just have to answer one question. Later on, I'll ask a question. The first person to come up in the comments with the correct answer, they will win it. We'll put you in touch with Niels, and Niels will give you the course. And he does it on a one-on-one basis. Now, the good thing about, I know a few people that have taken the course. The good thing about the course is it stays with you. If you go and contact a pro player and say, can you do a 2-hour stint with me in the local pool room? You do your 2 hours, you'll learn a few things, but then you go away, and if you want to do it again, you have to go back to him and pay again for the 2 hours. What Niels gives you is an entire course, which you can continually go back to yourself. So if 2 months down the line, you find yourself falling into the same traps that you were falling before, you go back, you can go through the material again, you can look at all the videos he gives you, you can even contact him, and he will give you a little bit of a boost and a reminder of where you need to be looking at and he will specify the course for you. So I think what happens is, at the beginning, he asks for information from you about your game and your problems and things that have happened in the past, and he will look into it. And one thing about Niels is he's read probably hundreds of different books on the mental side of sport. And he just takes all the little bits that apply to him and that he thinks applies to pool, and has brought it all together in one course for you. And that is the Terminator College. I've only heard positive things about it from the players that have done it. And he's offering a small portion of that to one of our viewers. So we give it another 10 minutes. I'll ask the question, and you can you give the right answer, and you're the first one to give the right answer, then you do it. Graham Hickman is on here saying that I can do this, can't I?
And I am putting the link to his website on the chat. So if you want to find it, that's how you can find it. If you don't win it, it doesn't mean you can't buy it.
There you go. And Graham Hickman on here, I think he's done it as well. The course is incredible. Such a great insight from a Hall of Fame legend, and it's a bargain. So, hopefully whoever wins it can use it. And what I would like then is that whoever it is that wins it, if they want to, once they've done the course, come onto the podcast and give us a rundown on how it helped them and what was specific about their game or their issues when they're playing. And you get a bonus. You get a bonus podcast episode. You get to join the talking clowns. Pundits on this show. Yeah, we'll put you in with Ray, and that's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the nosebleeds. All right. So I don't know. Did you Willie asked this question? Do you want to answer it, Jim?
What do you think it would take for the UK to grow American pool to have more stronger showing of players on the WNT in events other than the UK Open and the Scottish Open? First of all,
currently the only there's a lot of players that are still playing, but just before you jump in though, right? I mean, you have it depends if you consider Jason, but Jason, you got Darren, you got Elliot Sanderson, you got Imran Majid has made a nice little comeback to his career, I would say. There's a handful of players out there now, but I guess go ahead.
Well, first of all, talk about what the issue is and why we don't have it. It's basically because English pool and snooker is just more popular. If you go to a club or you go to a bar, it's going to be an English pool tables that are there, and then you have snooker clubs. Even those they're dying off slightly, but there's more of them. To find a place that's got good quality of 9-ball tables, there's probably only about 3 or 4 in the entire country. So that's one of the main problems. Another one of the main problems is there isn't a tour anymore. There used to be the GB9 tour. So you used to get all the 9-ball players in the country would come together. Now, it's not a huge amount of them, but they would have a tournament where they could all come together. And, and even Mark Gray, Imran, Darren, Chris Mellon, they were coming to these tours as well, So players of like my standard were getting to pit themselves up against the best that the UK have to offer. But it's just, it's not alive in the UK.
What happened to GB9?
GB9 just sort of folded. The location that they did have, they wanted to renew the contract and charge too much money for the location. There is currently a new group who have taken over the GB9, and they are building up to bring it back again in a slightly different format, perhaps in different locations throughout the country. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. I know the guys that have taken over and in charge, they're good guys, and if they can make it work, then they will make it work. Yeah. But that's kind of what the UK needs. They need the GB9 to be a thriving tour that entices the
guys like Phil Burford that I think are.
Phil Burford's a great player, but
great player.
He's just not playing anymore. There's so many very, very good players that are just not playing. They're not active anymore as they should be. And if you have a proper tour, a real good tour with a little bit of money in it, you will entice some of the English 8-ball players to come over and give it a go and perhaps try it. The likes of the Dean Shields, who won against Dong Hua, well, I can never pronounce it, is an English 8-ball player who just decided he wanted to give 9-ball a go. There was another guy in there who lost to Kachi in the loser side, and his name's lost me. But English 8-ball players. So there's a few English 8-ball players who are in there playing, but they need to be brought 100% onto the dark side, shall we say?
Yeah.
Jake Newlove, yeah. There's enough talented players in the UK.
Oh, certainly.
They just have to be given the opportunity to play our game. And if they're given the opportunity, then they can play it, and they can play it at a decent level, a very good level. You know,
At
as Dean showed.
At least your problem in the UK is that you have another competitive format that is professional quality that is drawing players away.
Realistically, they have three. They have three.
Yeah,
snooker, English 8-ball, and now Chinese 8-ball.
But it's also money. You know, if these 8-ball players can make more money playing 8-ball than they can playing 9-ball, why would they even think about playing 9-ball?
Right. I mean,
the likes of Jake and Dean, they travel together to these tournaments, and they just want to give it a go. That's what they want to do. They see what Matchroom have done. It's Matchroom that have enticed them over, and they see a proper production. They can get on TV. They can get more exposure, so they're giving it a go. And if they get the results like Dean, you know, getting to the last 32, got a bit of a result there, and it's the best result he's had, that will give him the motivation to come back and try again next year. And I think the British players see a window of opportunity for World Cup of Pool, for example. You know, if you look at who is the number, we have a clear number one in Jason. But if you look at who the number two is, you know, there is a window of opportunity for somebody to have a couple of good tournaments and get themselves into the World Cup of Pool. So that's an enticement for them as well, which wasn't always there for the so you say the mid-standard British players, because you had Mark Gray, you had Carl Boys, you had Melling, you had Darren Appleton. To get into that team was almost impossible for anybody pushing through the ranks, you know.
I think Jason would do well with like a Darren or a Phil Burford as his partner.
The thing is, Burf has to go and play. You know, he has to come to the. Yeah. He's not somebody. He played in the World Team Championships with Darren and Kelly, and he performed well there. He had a good show in there, but I'm not sure if he's even interested in playing the WNT and going to all these events. It costs money, you know.
It's a huge grind, and it's a big expense, which is really a barrier for everybody, for sure.
But he's certainly a player who has a high enough level to compete there,
especially with somebody like Jason, who he's got all the talent you need and all the firepower you need. You just need to put a few balls and stay in line. You know?
I mean, if you look at Elliot, I personally, I think Elliot's a great player, but I would personally put Burford a level above him. You know, if he was playing all the time, but he just doesn't. I don't see him being active. I see some stuff on TikTok now and stuff like that, but I don't see him going to tournaments. I don't see him really. Yeah. We'll see.
So in the UK right now, realistically, you have 4 Q sports going on at a pretty high level. English 8-ball, 9-ball, snooker, and Chinese 8-ball.
Chinese 8-ball doesn't live in the UK.
Doesn't?
No.
Okay.
Find a Chinese 8-ball table in the UK.
I mean, Darren switched to it, so
find a Chinese because he gets one. He gets given one.
Sure.
Find a Chinese 8-ball table in Europe.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so if you're a 12-year-old Jim and you have all the talent in the world and you can go into any of the 3, which one are you going to go into at this point? Rank them for me.
Holy shit! Snooker, because it's just the best game.
The best game? What do you mean, the best game?
Ronnie O'Sullivan said it best. Snooker is this lovely piece of juicy sirloin steak, and pool is a piece of crappy the hamburger you throw in the barbecue.
Too bad Ronnie can't beat anybody playing pool.
But he would if he played.
Maybe.
Look, they're different games. You know,
they are different games. Yeah.
Just because you're holding a cue and you're hitting a ball with the end of it, it doesn't make it the same.
There's a lot more pool players, or there's a lot more snooker players that come over to pool and have success than there are pool players that go over to snooker and have success.
Yes, absolutely.
I do appreciate that snooker players don't tolerate the stuff that pool players have to deal with, because they've kind of gotten rid of those issues in their tour and their structure. Like when we go to Hanoi and you see tables that are super springy and all this other stuff, like you don't ever see that on snooker tournaments really, because they've accommodated for that. You know, they have heated tables and they're all, you know, put together, and the conditions are always, there's a standard there. You know what I mean? So I do appreciate that a lot about that.
I mean, I think it comes down to, if you're going to be the world champion in one of them, which one would you pick?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved pool, so I wouldn't choose snooker, but I also think snooker is kind of boring overall as a cue sport game. It's very monotone in the style of how it's I think it's dramatic, and it can be dramatic when two guys are going at it, but the technical side of how the game is played is pretty monotone. It's like there's a few things that you do at a super high level, and then you kind of like avoid detail on a lot of other things involving, especially like the cushions and spin. You don't really play spin very much in snooker. Everything's very vertical. It's all about cueing and fundamentals and stance. And that's just because of the way the table is built. You have to kind of do that. Whereas pool is more of a creative endeavor. Carom is more of a creative endeavor. There's more like, working the cue ball, working the cushions than there is in snooker. And I just like pool, but I'm biased. I'm an American. I grew up playing pool. We don't really have like a snooker ecosystem. So I'm sure if I lived in England and it was like, if it was everything, you know what I mean, then that would be my answer maybe. But
I would say that snooker is less than 1% of the cue sports played in the U.S.
Yeah, we never really had strong. We had three cushion for sure. We had straight pool.
Three cushion still exists. Three cushions, I would say, like 3-4% of
like in the
something
50s,
like that.
Three cushion was a lot bigger in the U.S. than it is now. Now it's like very
cushion, they're just very hard to have, right? It's very hard to have a three cushion table because it takes up so much more room than a pool table. You could put almost
that's something about snooker as well. It's
you could put almost two 7-foot pool tables in the distance of of one billiard table.
If you've got a business and a limited area where you can place tables, are you going to fill it with snooker tables?
No, you're going to put bar tables. That's what
exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. And so unless the sport really, really thrives in your country, you're not going to make that investment or take up all that space with pool tables. And yes, it does. It thrives in the UK more than anywhere else in the rest of Europe and in Asia. So it's Asia and the UK. The rest of the world are not really that interested in snooker. And you see that when you look at the players at the top of the game. It's UK-based players and Asian players.
Yeah, always.
Or satellite. Or
even
previous satellite countries of
even
UK,
in the
right?
Even in the Chinese 8-ball crossover, like it's still the same thing because it's the same kind of pockets. Like it's English players and the Asian players.
Right.
Fighting it out deep at the end of the tournament. Gareth Potts or whoever, Selby will sometimes go and play some 8-ball.
They're different games, and if you enjoy watching them, you enjoy watching them for different reasons.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah. Snooker is beautiful to watch. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to watch and follow along and see how many.
I would never want to go to an in-person snooker tournament though. Ever.
No, I think I find it a little bit boring. The thing that snooker has that the other ones don't have is that the frame can be over, but the player can still be playing. And then you get the entertainment value, So they continue to clear the colours and they entertain, and then they play to the crowd, or some of them do. Some of them stay boring, but some of them, they create that atmosphere with the crowd, and the crowd can then get involved because they know that the frame's over, so it doesn't really matter. So the crowd can then be lively and a bit involved.
And snooker has a better, I think, in the culture side of it, like the people abroad of the whole kind of like people in countries where snooker is big, the people love watching it and they have the cultural support, which makes it fun and exciting. And there's obviously more money in it that way. And that's a big thing here. Pool doesn't have that relative kind of appeal right now. Like snooker has that appeal in the UK. It's a thing. You know what I mean? In Asia, it's a huge thing. When Ronnie did, a couple years ago, Ronnie went to China and did a huge exhibition thing there, and it was a stadium of like 8,000 people watching. It's crazy. You know what I mean? It was massive.
Snooker will never overtake pool in the US, or snooker will never overtake 9-ball pool in the US, and 9-ball pool will never overtake snooker in the UK. No. And I think that Matchroom are starting to realize that as well.
Yeah.
Where they started the whole darts movement with the darts, they could base that in the UK and still have the crowds and have that as their base and then spread from there. They can't do that with pool because you see the difference with the crowds at the UK Open or the crowds at in Fulda, and especially in Hanoi and at the US Open. It's just not the same. The atmosphere just doesn't live there as much as it does in these other countries.
Hanoi is unbelievable.
That was just crazy.
That's crazy.
Absolutely nuts. I heard somebody mention a figure of 8,000 people.
Yeah. I mean, that
the only thing that even gets close to rivaling at this point is the Mosconi Cup.
But Mosconi's never had more than 3.
It's double the Mosconi.
They've had a little bit more.
8,000 people were in for finals day.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's mad. You can't ignore that. That's just insane.
Yeah. To be fair, to be a little bit fair, I think the Mosconi Cup, it's never truly been held at a place that is conducive for getting large amounts of people.
No, I think
I think Mosconi Cup could definitely have that level of.
It could have 10,000. It could have 10,000 here in the U.S. No problem.
Easily, but you need to have an arena where all 10,000 of those people can see that small little table.
100%. I remember 2 years ago I went to the one in Vegas. The last time I was here in the States, and I got the feeling that they could have sold this out.
Easily
in an arena somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, they could have gotten 8 to 10,000 people.
Easy.
Because people were still trying to find tickets, and Matchroom's done a great job in building the brand. You know what I mean? And it's we follow all year long. People compete. I think it's time to start looking outside of casinos because they're limited. I think you got to start trying to find a bigger venue. Stadium.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at on it too. Like the Vegas is fine. Like I just don't think that I might be completely off my rocker here, but I just feel like Vegas is not going to get the crowds that like just somewhere in New York City or somewhere in Chicago or somewhere even in like a Dallas or something like that would get.
Or something. Yeah, I know.
I mean, the first year it's out of Vegas. I mean, not only did it fill up within
Madison
10 minutes.
Square Garden. Can you imagine that? Just
sitting
a table in the middle of that basketball court and then having the whole thing.
I can't even tell you how many of the parents of the players this year are reaching out to me trying to help them get tickets. Yeah. The parents of the players cannot even get into this event.
At least
first year it's been out of Vegas.
At least you know that if you have and put up tickets for sale and they sell out within 24 hours, that there's a big enough demand to grow. You know what I mean? And that's a good problem. That's a good problem to have, right? It's a good problem to have. You don't want to have booked a place.
Unless you're the one trying to get tickets. Then it sucks.
Yeah, no, it sucks, of course, but people cancel trips and all sort of stuff, and tickets become available. They're just going to be super expensive. Again, these are good problems to have for somebody who's trying to build a commodity or brand or a sport. It's fantastic. So the fact that it's here in Orlando, it's going to be great. I think getting out of the idea of like you have to be in a casino somewhere, like hospitality venues are going to be big. I think places that you're used to receiving lots of guests, like, big tourist areas would be awesome. I think we need to get a bigger venue.
How far away is the venue from your house, Raymond?
20 minutes, probably. 20-minute drive. Yeah.
We're all going to Reyes to play pool on his table.
I've got 3 3/4 waiting for you, pal. Come on over.
You got the 8, buddy.
Yeah. I'll take it. I'll practice up for that. No problem. But it's going to be fantastic. I think now that Hanoi's over, we're going to be looking at picks soon, right? We're going to be looking at Mosconi Cup selections. Got to be coming down the line.
Well, I think the Team Europe one's pretty easy, to be honest. I think it's the Team America that's a tough pick. Yeah.
Well, the question on the European side is is Josh going to be available? That throws some turmoil into things.
I think they're going to delay that until after Reyes because they don't want to distract.
Oh, absolutely. That won't get touched. That won't get touched in October. That'll get touched early
Emily has been questioned by a few people, and she's been quite simple in her answer that there will be no more information. It will not be discussed. And but I can tell you that there is a meeting between Josh and Emily or Matchroom after the Reyes Cup.
I'm sure.
And we will find out after that, and Jason will find out after that meeting whether or not Josh will be playing the Mosconi Cup or not. And I'm guessing that decision will have a bearing on who he chooses. But I really don't see anybody other than FSR, to be honest.
I'd like for them to allow Sky to announce his pick sooner than later. I think some of the speculation and stuff, the longer it drags out, doesn't do well for anyone really. So I think it'd be better just to go ahead and, if he has a pick, to go ahead and announce it and give, USA time to get ready. You know what I mean?
Do you think Sky picks it, or do you think the team picks it?
Oh, I know. I think Sky's going to pick.
There's no chance that the team picks it. There can't be. Not in Sky's first year. I mean, Sky's got to take some level of accountability.
He might. He might run it by them. Obviously, like he might.
Yeah, you're gonna run it by the team and be like, hey, I'm thinking this is going to be my pick.
Well, so you're Skylar. You want to pick Billy. You run it by the team, and all three of them turn around and say Oscar. Are you still picking Billy?
That's a leadership question.
Yes.
That's a leadership question, and
but also the leader of a team is listening to your team.
Well, let's put it this way, Jim. If Sky does that, and he wants to pick Billy, and then everyone else wants Oscar, and then Sky says, "All right, I'm gonna go pick Oscar then," and they end up losing, and Oscar plays terribly. What's the point of having Sky as a player captain? You're not really cementing your.
So what happens? So what happens if you pick Billy and he plays terribly, and the rest of your team then turn around and say, "Hold on a minute, we told you to pick Oscar."
Doesn't matter. That's his choice. That's the reason why he's captain.
Halfway through the match, three of your team check out because they're like, "Fucking, we told him to pick Oscar, and he's picked Billy." Halfway through the match. Look, let me just talk about. You're a mathematician, Nate. Let me talk about this statistically. If Sky turns around to the other three, turns around to Federer, Shane, and Tyler, and says, "There's three of you, best 2 out of 3 wins. Who do you want?" He's guaranteed to have 3 players on his team who are happy with that decision.
I'm telling you right
now, the majority happy with the decision. I'm
telling you right now, Jim. There's no reason for him to be the coach then. He might as well be the team counselor. What's the point of being the coach?
Listen, there's more to being the captain of a team than just picking a wild card.
Nothing more important. That is the most important job.
Absolutely, there's more important stuff than that.
No way.
Absolutely,
you're building the team. That's the team. You're building the team.
The team. 4 of the team has been built for him. He's adding 1 to it. He is bringing somebody in that fits with the rest of the team. It doesn't have to be the best player that they've got available. I don't somebody who will fit into the team and gel with the team that the rest of the team accept as their 5th player.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So when you're saying that, I agree with that. Are you saying that Billy and Oscar, neither one or one of them would not gel with the team?
No, but if 3 of the players say we don't want that one, why would you give that one?
Okay, so you're assuming that Billy, you're assuming that Tyler, Fedor, and Shane are going to look at one of these players and be like, adamantly, I do not want them on the team.
No, I'm saying you confer with them and you go with the majority.
Then what's the point of being the coach?
Because it's your decision then to confer with them and do it. It's you are saying, I am the coach. I am making this a team decision because we're doing this together. That's being a leader. Being a leader is not saying, I'm making my decision and you're just going to have to fucking stick to it. That's not a leader.
That's what every single coach in any other sport would do.
Bollocks.
Bollocks my ass. Bill Belichick doesn't walk. Bill Belichick does not walk up to the rest of his players and say, "Hey, do you think that we should draft this player in the draft?" No, he goes out there and makes the damn decision.
He picks players based on the other players he has there.
Sure.
Yes, so he takes the players into account.
But if he's going to sign some player, he's not going to go to every single player on the 55-man roster and say, "Hey, do you think we should sign this player?" No, he's going to make a decision. He's going to do it.
Mate, that's not. Yeah. No, I've got to. We did say we'd argue about something on the podcast. Here we go. We're doing it.
I'm not even necessarily saying that.
I think it's massively important for Skylar. I find my opinion is massively important for Skylar to consult his team and find out what his team think and want from this pick.
And what I'm telling you is I've seen that happen for the last 3 years, and it hasn't worked for fuck all. Jeremy Jones did that. He talked to his players, and it didn't fucking work. Like, at some point in time, I want to see somebody just be a good captain and just say, this is the way it's going to be. Like Johann
like I said, there's more to being a captain than doing that.
Sure, the last time we had success was when Johann was there, and that's what Johann did. He picked he went out there on a limb and picked Tyler, and everybody looked at that as being a stupid decision that was going to backfire in his face. And next thing you know, he won 2 out of 3 years, and we haven't sniffed a win since.
Oh yeah. Don't ever become team captain of America because your losing run will continue.
I just don't see why we need to go. Like, don't get me wrong. I think that the players should be asked, and I think the players should have a say in the thing. But I'm just saying the ultimate decision should, and I hope will fall with Sky.
So you're saying that Sky wants Billy. Let's say Sky wants Billy because it's his mate. Sky truly believes that Billy is the better pick. But all three of the other ones, I'm not saying we don't want Billy. They're saying we think it should be Oscar.
Yes, I think he should pick Billy. In the same way that if you'd have taken a poll of the players in 2019 whether or not Johann should pick Tyler, every single player would have said, no, I think we should pick this person. And it turned out that worked out great for Johann because he went with his gut on who he thought was going to be the best, and it worked out. And we've basically coddled to whoever the Team USA wants as a full team since then, and it hasn't worked out. So why not give Sky the free will to do whatever he thinks is best for the team? That's why he's the captain to begin with. If Emily didn't have full faith in him being able to be the captain, she shouldn't have put him there.
If that was his only role as captain, then his captaincy basically ends once the team's picked.
No, because he's still showing up and coaching on the day, right? I mean,
do you think he's going to be? He's not going to be coaching people.
Then why is he there?
Who's he going to? Who's he going to coach?
You still got to keep people's headspace in the right spot. You still got to make sure that everybody's prepared for their matches.
You've got to make sure everybody's happy. You've got to make sure everybody feels important in the team. You've got to make sure everybody feels like their opinion is important, that everybody feels equally important. Yes, you've got to. That starts right now for Skylar. He could burn that bridge straight away by turning around and saying, I don't give a shit what you three think. I'm picking somebody else.
Just like Johann did in 2019.
But he's not playing with them. He's sitting on the bench. The five of them are out the back saying, Johann's an asshole. We'll do this without him.
You're telling me that there is zero chance that Sky can have any sort of captain role outside of coddling the players and making them feel special.
I'm not saying that.
He can't take a stand.
And you're twisting my words. I didn't say coddling and making them feel special. I'm saying listening to them, being part of a team, not just being the leader of the team, not just the I'm in charge guy.
But that's what a coach is.
Not necessarily, Nate.
It worked out great for Jeremy Jones doing it that way. That's the only thing I'm saying.
He wasn't playing.
He did what? Yeah, he did. He played one out of the 3 years.
Skylar has to go out there and actually play with these guys. He has to be in a doubles partnership with these guys.
Jeremy did it 1 year.
He was forced to do it.
He did it, right? I get what you're saying. I just think that Sky has to actually take the reins and be a captain.
I think Skylar has done that, and I think he has, by all appearances, made his selection of who he wants to be on the team. And I don't think that Billy being his guy in any way will go protested by the rest of the team, because Billy's one of those guys that they all have a lot of history with and experience with, and trust him in big moments because he's kind of has this little bit of a bravado. So I don't think that's ever going to really be a point of contention for them. I think Skylar is potentially looking for a reason to pick Billy, and that Wolfston event was a huge pressure valve release off of him, right? And so I think for a lot of people, like when I think about leadership stuff, I have less of a problem with him picking Billy than how he goes about communicating that he's going to pick Billy. And so for me, the leadership element starts before the Hanoi Open tournament. And when you have an opportunity to, you're going to go into this last tournament, you have an opportunity to set up the scenario so that all the American guys who are going there are engaged and committed to performing their best, even if you have kind of like your bias to who you want to see on the team. I think it's critical that you establish an ecosystem where the guys continue to be bought in. Because when you start posting online that, this guy's, my buddy, and everybody else posts photos and like kind of like, without saying in so many words, say, we're going to pick Billy regardless of whatever happens in this event, then you risk de-incentivizing people who are committed and playing the best pool of their lives from being back for you the next year. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the Greg Hogue argument, right?
Well, no, I don't work. I don't, you know.
I'm with you with what you're saying. Like I understand. Like we want it to be based off of merit, not based off of who's your best buddies with.
Well, I mean, he has a wild card, right? So he's entitled to that. I think the wild card is a good tool to have for a captain. Like, you know, maybe you think that this other person gels better across the rest of the team than somebody else, and that's just a chemistry thing, and that's more important for you because you have 3 superstars. You have Shane, you have Federer, and you have Sky, right? 3 tier 1 superstar players who, you know, can beat anybody in the world at any time. And then you have another guy who's playing probably the best pool of his life, who's earned it on points, which is hard to do, to crack those 3, you know, in Tyler. But, you know, that spot, that third spot was really where somebody like an Oscar or Tyler, that's where they were fighting for, because, you know, they're both probably playing the best pool of their lives. And on paper, you would say Oscar's definitely playing better than Billy. I mean, he has match wins.
Certainly playing more.
Well, he has match wins this year. You know, he's playing better than Billy in rotation. I mean, he's got wins over Filler, over Jason, over Ko. He's made multiple Matchroom finals. He's traveled in different continents, different countries, gotten to the finals in multiple WNT events. He's running a business. He's got his family. Like, he's got a lot on his plate, and he's still going 10-8 with Copigny, you know what I mean, in like a coin flip kind of match. Like, the quality is there, you know, and like, you can't tell me that on paper, if him and Billy play, you're going to select Billy to beat Oscar in a rotation set on a tight table. It's just not going to happen.
No, I don't. But on the match but on the Mosconi Cup stage, I can.
Yeah, but I you know, Billy, you don't really need that 5th guy to necessarily be the best player in the world. You need him to slot in and work well with people and do his job and make balls and come with a point, 1 singles point. If I can get 1 singles point from you, like, you've done your job. If I can get a doubles point from you, you've done your job. That's that 5th person. You don't need him to go out there and be Shane for you. Right now, if he does go out there and be Shane for you, that's bonus. Great, congratulations. You know,
well, somebody needs to be Shane.
Yeah,
because Shane refuses to do it.
He needs to be Shane, and you know, there's chemistry there, and I think Billy has a lot of upside because he gets up for big moments well, I think, but
and brings people with him. Not only does he get excited, he has a way of getting other people involved with that too. Sure. Nobody can argue that his energy.
I hear this argument, and I agree with it. Yes, Billy is that guy. But if you're in this whole Mosconi Cup that was sold out within 10 minutes, kind of thing, and you need Billy to get you fired up, then I'm sorry, your home crowd has dogged it big time. If you need Billy to get the players fired up,
if you need somebody else to get you motivated, then that's a different problem. You have a different problem, and you maybe need to think about whether you want to be there.
Well, isn't that the exact argument we've had the last 2 to 3 years with the Mosconi Cup? I mean, that's exactly what we talk about.
It's an argument you can make when it's played in London, but it's not an argument you can make when it's played in the US.
Now, again,
that was the argument we were making in Vegas last time.
Sorry,
that was the argument we were making in Vegas last time.
And who was the guy that was making who was the guy that was making the atmosphere? Who was the guy that was jumping around and getting the crowd going?
Yeah, well, Billy in the stands.
Billy in the stands. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for me, leadership is really kind of like, you know, if you are going to make a difficult choice, then don't let Facebook be the thing where the guy who's flying there, you know, to go compete, and this is his last barrel, he finds out on Facebook, and not because you know, stepped aside and spoke with him directly. You know what I mean? And to me, that's where leadership, because now you're showing respect to the player who's not going to get picked, and you're saying, I honor and respect everything you've done this year, and I'm going to go this way because of this. And, you know, I just want you to know that I appreciate you, because you need to have that guy vested, because otherwise he's going to be like, you know what, I might just go play WPA events next year. You know what I mean? Or I might just go to a couple events and not really sweat it so much, because it's a huge investment, you know, traveling all over the world to chase points, and you're going to pick your best buddy anyhow. You know what I mean?
So who would you pick then, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, before we go to the draw for the stuff, I want to hear who you would pick and who you think Sky will pick,
and why.
I think Sky is going to probably pick Billy because he has a lot of chemistry there, and that's his guy. And Billy snapped off a recent event, and I think that's enough for Sky. I think he has I think relationships are important. I think our lives are built on relationships, and we can't basically paint that side of the equation is a negative, because the positives that come out of making a decision like that are that you're going to war with somebody that you want to be there with. You understand? And that's also important in team dynamics. And I think, if Skylar has a bias towards somebody and he's a playing captain, it's hard to delineate that. Like, it's not like he's just the captain and he's not also playing. He has to trust the guy he's playing with. And maybe he feels that in big moments, and especially if it comes down to big doubles point, he'd rather be playing with Billy in that big doubles point than playing with Oscar, and that's just a chemistry thing. And that's not really has anything to do with Oscar's game per se. It's just whether or not there's a brotherhood there to the extent that it's there, and Sky and Billy have had hard times in the last year or so, personal like confrontations, and Skylar's still picking him, which goes to show that there's deep relationship there. It's not just surface level stuff. So if you're going to go to battle with somebody and you think that on paper they've done what they've needed to do to better themselves and get to a place where they're effective and playing well, and he's playing well and you want to reward that, then I'm okay with that. I think it's more about how I go about doing that. And because it's very easy to disrespect somebody or to come off as disrespectful. To me, it comes off a little disrespectful if I'm flying to a tournament and let's say I'm Oscar and I got to look on Facebook and everybody's ignoring me while I'm there. You know what I mean? But they're posting with Billy all the time. Like, that to me is not good leadership, and it's immature. And I think it's a little bit short-minded. And I think maybe Sky doesn't care, and that's okay, because the guys that he's going to go to bat with, that's all he cares about. Now, I worry about what message does that send to Landon Hollingworth, to Lucas Werner, to 10, 20 other guys that are on the come up that are 3 to 5 years out from being in that spot, really locking in. Like, I'm thinking about building up the rest of the guys and doing it in like, if I go to war, if I'm going to make this call, you're not going to find out on Facebook. Like, I'll be standing in front of you. I'll shake your hand. I'll say, this is what's going on. And I love you as a brother. I'm hoping next year you get that spot and we can compete together. But that's just me. And I feel like I want to protect those relationships as much as I want to have the rest of the guys locked in with me when we go to Orlando. So I really don't. I think as a player, your responsibility is to make top 3. If you can make top 3, you aren't vulnerable to any of this stuff, and Oscar gave himself an opportunity to make top 3. So he understands that if you don't make top 3, you're liable to get bit by an up and comer or, your buddy or whoever else. There's relational things that can affect you. And, unfortunately that's the risk that you take when you sign up to travel all over the world to chase ranking points all year long. So maybe he'll adjust his strategy and, not go to every small event and do all this other stuff. Maybe just pick certain select events, you know what I mean? And save his energy. And, who knows? But my only concern is about how the decision is being made, and to make sure that we're still fostering a cohesive unit, so they have their support. Oscar's going to be professional. He's going to do what he's going to do and support whoever goes out there. And that's all good because he's a class guy. But I also just think about, if it's me, just the appearance or thought of it, I don't like the idea of that attached to me. If I'm the captain, I would never allow for that personally. I would bring the guys together. I would have dinners together. I would continue to start building this cohesiveness amongst the ecosystem of players that are there. We're all from the US. We're all in Vietnam. We should be rolling together. You know what I mean? And I think the Europeans do that better as a group from what I watch and observe and travel. And I see these guys, doing that. And I think this was an opportunity to do that, to kind of bring people more together. And I didn't see that, at least on social media, compared to what I did see on social media. So,
okay, fair.
All right, Jim, who are you picking?
Who am I picking? Oh, I think Skylar will pick Billy, and I think it's the correct pick. But I could understand the Oscar pick because, like Ray said, he is playing better pool than Billy at the moment. But as a fan of Europe, and also for the players of Europe, they would much rather that USA picked Oscar than Billy. If you ask the European players to pick the player for US, they would pick Oscar.
yeah,
So
he has.
I think that's a big factor as well. What would the European team not want? And they don't want a Billy Thorpe in that arena. They don't want a Billy Thorpe in there who might just get fired up enough to actually produce his best pool.
Yeah, and he's very.
They would rather take Oscar playing the pool he's playing. Oscar's more of a consistent kind of player. He's got a level that they know they can kind of handle to a certain extent. They know what to expect. Billy comes in there, they don't know what to expect. He could blow out completely, or he could start firing and getting himself up there, and then getting Sky up as well, getting the rest of the team up. And I think that for the USA, I've said it before in previous Mosconi Cups, that the USA needs special things to happen out there in order to win the Mosconi Cup. They need their players to fire. They need things to go their way for them. They need players out there that are going to make things happen. And Billy, out of those two guys, Billy's the guy that has that ability to do that.
Yeah, because you have other guys.
It could just as easily end up being another 11-3 because Billy's there.
I think Billy is one of those guys that, because you have, just from a disposition standpoint, you have Federer's pretty even chill kind of guy. Tyler is also like that kind of guy, and Shane kind of keeps to himself anyways. So Sky is like, maybe of those guys, the ones who's more like prone to kind of big moment, and maybe he wants a backup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Billy does offer. He has a pedigree of playing well. In
Billy is not afraid of getting into anybody's face and tell them to keep your shit in line, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And he'll challenge them and all that stuff, and that's all good. Again, I think team dynamics is great. So I think it's hard to argue on those intangibles. Billy has those intangibles, right? Because that's how he's kind of made up. He's tough and he's emotionally resilient and all that stuff. And he also has a explosive factor where he's up for a big moment or big shot. He has proven he can do that on the big stage and on new cloth, new conditions. It's just up to him to continue to be sharp and to just take care of himself. And Sky has to make sure that he keeps him in line, and vice versa, and I think it can be good for them. So, but I think the other side of it is just a matter of like, how do we manage these things in a way that's positive for Team USA moving forward? Obviously, somebody's going to be upset that they don't get the pick.
No, it is. It's tough because I've got to be honest. Out of the two of them, Oscar deserves it.
It's hard to argue.
Oscar deserves it, but it's Mosconi Cup. It's a completely different event. It's completely, and people say,
let me give an argument to that.
What winning the Wolf's Den does that hold the same sort of weight as?
There's no way that just if you just weigh them against each other, that winning Wolf's Den is better than Oscar's finals in the Scottish Open.
No.
Field at the Scottish Open was
okay. So let me try to make the argument for that.
Field, and he beats Filler, Jason Shaw, and Co. in a row in that tournament. I don't care. Like, there aren't many Americans who have done that at all this year.
But it's also Mosconi Cup, and you want the guys that are performing now at this moment. And totally. I truly believe that wildcards is about now, not about what happened in January, February, March, April. That's not important, for me. You can use it if you're really on a 50-50, but you want the guy that's performing the best just now. And Billy's been in the winner's circle recently, but
he also got beat by
who's he? He's beaten good players to win it, but not like top of the world kind of players to win it. But I think Billy gets it just because of what he could potentially bring to the arena and to the team. But again, I think America need risks. They need special things to happen out there, and there's more chance that Billy produces that than Oscar. I think there's more chance that Billy disrupts the European team than what Oscar does. He doesn't get involved in that kind of stuff.
Just out of curiosity, do you guys know how much further Oscar finished ahead of Billy in the standings?
As far as points go?
Yeah.
Quite a few thousand, I think, yeah.
And also that first place finish at Wolfstone was $17,000. It was one,
I'm guessing it was probably about 12 grand ahead of him, something like that.
He was $7.5 grand behind.
There you go. Not much.
Oscar played nearly every event. If he didn't play all of them, he played very, very close to all of them. And Billy played nowhere close to all of them.
Yeah. But that last 17 grand.
You guys are saying that he's like playing significantly better than Billy right now. I'm looking at this and I'm like, how is $7.5 grand?
In one tournament, he got paid $17,000. That's like
Oscar was in that tournament. He could have won it.
I understand that, but you're looking at numbers where one weekend he earned like what 70% of what he earned for the year. He was at $9 grand.
The potential.
He's at $9 grand. He's not even close.
The money is a bit is not really doesn't give a proper.
Better.
Yeah,
won the World Nine Ball.
Exactly.
Nine Ball. He won $250,000. Nobody's close. Like
any player in the world, any player in the world could have played lights out for 7 days and got 250 grand.
Like it's not.
The rest of the year being complete crap.
Yeah. I stand by my statement. If you got that many from one, sure, that's fine. But
there's a lot of people are saying that. Oscar's been to all he's grinded, he's been all the tournaments, and he still didn't make the top.
He's getting paid in every other tournament. How about that?
And he still didn't make the top three. Going to all these tournaments, going everywhere, and still didn't make the top three. Does he deserve to be in the team? Well, but again, you're relating that to other players around about him as well, kind of thing, which is. Listen, it's a tough decision. It's a tough decision. I'm glad I don't have to make it.
I'm strictly only making the argument that when we're saying that Oscar is playing significantly better than Billy right now, I just don't see how that Billy, just doesn't hold up to me.
Billy got in this tournament. Billy got beat by Landon Hollingsworth to qualify, and Oscar went 10-8 with Copigny, who was a semifinalist. Is that what you want to know? Like, there's the proof in the pudding.
I just don't understand how we can look at one single tournament where he lost to these two players. But we're also going to
significantly better is a bit of a stretch. He's not playing significantly better.
So that's what I'm getting at. Am I arguing that Billy's playing better? No, but what I'm saying is like the fact that we're going to say that Oscar is significantly in a better spot than Billy right now, and we're going down by picking him is just.
I'm just saying we have a broad palette.
I only said that Oscar deserves it more.
Tier 1 players, and either being ahead of them and beating them, or losing close matches with them. And he's, I don't recall any matches where Landon Hollingsworth beat him this year. You know what I'm saying? So like that level of player, there's volatility with Billy's game, and that's inherent because of his style. And also the conditions were very difficult in Hanoi. Super hot, super humid, super springy. At Wolf's big pockets, you know what I mean? It's like 4.5-inch pocket, which suits Billy's game. He's going to be able to be free and be aggressive and incorporate his banking skills and all the things that he can bring to the table. And it just sets up for him well, you know what I mean? And he went out there and performed, and he obviously has to execute and has to run out. But we have a whole year where he's going double hill with Conrad, or he's beating Ko, or he's beating Shaw, or he's losing to this person, final 32, final 16s. Over time, consistently, he's playing better.
Sure. I'm not arguing with that. I'm just saying that Billy didn't play in a lot of these tournaments that Oscar did play in, and he's still nearly at the same number.
Which is a knock against Billy. You're trying to
get Billy to be 7,000. Well, yes, no, I agree that he should be playing more events. I'm not arguing with that. Yeah, but he's played half of the events, and he's $7.5 grand behind. And
because one tournament he had 17 grand. You're waiting.
You're holding him accountable for one tournament where he lost a lot, Landon Hollingsworth, but you're not giving him credit for the one tournament that he won.
My point is, you're saying, you're pointing out money as if the money is the equalizer here between them as to who's playing better. I'm saying the money has nothing to do with it, because he's heavily weighted in one tournament that paid out close to 20 grand. So if you just step back and say, okay, who are the matches that he's won? Where are the matches that he's lost? He's had a lot of matches where he's lost against lower guys, but maybe he's out of stroke. Maybe he's
I definitely agree with that.
Oscar's been on the grind consistently, and he's gotten through that, working himself into his level of play. And the matches that he's losing are high quality, consequential matches against tier 1 players that are very close, and they're in deep parts of the tournament. So it's just like, like he was at the European Open. He lost double hill to Conrad. Conrad's a great player. He lost 10-8 to Ko. He made the finals in Scotland, and he beat Shaw, and he beat, you know what I'm saying? So like, we're talking about like relative to the all systems going, Billy can catch up and play his best and beat anybody. But to me, it looks like he has work to do to show up to December and be in punch, where I think Oscar's in punch now. So
I don't think that Billy's outside of that far. I mean, Landon Hollingsworth he's had a couple really, really, really nice wins recently.
Landon's a good player. I'm not trying to discredit Landon at all, but you're also talking about a junior who's coming up, and if you're talking about the best players in America, that's a match that Billy's supposed to eat up, right? To qualify every time.
Sure.
If you're talking about tier 1, do you expect Landon to beat Shane or Federer or Sky? No.
So Landon just lost to Shane Hill in the week prior.
Okay, Shane got there. I feel very good for Shane. He held up to his end of the bargain. But Landon's gaining experience and he's doing well.
Joey Tate beats Shane in the Matchroom event if he doesn't play the 4-5 out of order.
Oh, but Shane beat him because he called a foul on him. So
I just don't think that Billy is far off from. I do agree that Oscar is playing better than Billy. I'm not trying to make that argument. It's hard for me to say that Billy is so far behind Oscar that he's not deserving of a spot, because he's
deserving of a spot because he has a WNT wild card. He has a tour card. That's it. You earn your tour card. If he wants to call up whoever,
sure.
Sky you're on the books. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's already earned the opportunity to get selected by being a WNT pro, touring pro, and has a card. Like, he's obviously earned the right to get a role. You know what I'm saying? Like, David Alcady just slots right into the the Hanoi because of the things.
He just waits around like that, guys. I'm here. Yes, I am ready. I am ready.
I'd be buying all those guys.
Here's a weird statement. If Billy does get selected, Sky will be the only person on his team that has not won a WNT ranking event this year.
Right. Say again.
If Sky picks Billy, Sky will be the only player on the team that did not win a Matchroom ranking event this year.
Sky got close. He was in wasn't it the European Open that they both had a chance to be in the finals?
He was in the Final Four.
He was in the Final Four. Him and Shane, but then they both lost, right?
Yeah. I'm just saying that he would be the only player.
He hasn't won a ranking event.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
Tyler won back-to-back.
Yeah, Tyler won back-to-back, which
Billy
I think
won Wolf's-Den.
Tyler's playing the best. I think he's playing for the year. This is his best professional year so far, probably. Just I've seen like a little bit of a level of consistency increase and big wins against top guys. And he cracked the top 3. It's tough to do. Skylar did not play every event, so there's that. You know what I mean? And Skylar's crazy talented, so he caught up and was knocking. Where if he would have made, I think he needed to get to the finals to pass Tyler on points, and then he'd have 2 wildcard picks. But
depending on what Tyler ended up doing, right?
Yeah.
We say
who are you picking, and who do you think gets picked?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh no, Skylar won the Pennsylvania event.
Did he? At
spot. Yeah, remember? That's the tournament where Mika was shooting, I think, to beat him double hill and scratching the side.
Oh, you might be right on that. And
Skylar went on and snapped it off. Yeah. So everybody's got what? Did Shane win one this year?
I just assume Shane wins one every year. One of those smaller ones. He won.
We just give him one.
We just assume.
If Shane did Shane snap one off? I'm not
Premier
sure.
League pool, does that count? No, I guess not.
Well, yeah. Well, no, it's not a ranking event, is it?
Yeah.
Invitation.
Yeah. Who would I pick? I mean, after all this time, I'm telling you, I would pick Oscar, but I think that he'll pick Billy. And I don't think that it's not like it's 2021 where we're picking between, Oscar Dominguez and Greg Hogue. Sorry, Greg, I love you, but
Jerry brings up match records in Mosconi, which is important. Billy has 3 wins, 3 losses in singles, and Oscar's 0 wins and 4 losses in singles. So, there's that.
Billy's been on 2 winning, or at least 1 winning Mosconi Cup team, maybe 2, and Oscar's never won one. Oscar's never won one.
Right.
Now, to be fair to Oscar, I'm going to go back to, I'm not taking the Billy side of this as much as, honestly, I am sounding like it, but I want Sky ultimately to be a true captain, and I believe a true captain is somebody who makes the decision, stands behind it, and then gets his team to buy into it.
And I think he has that. I think
regardless of what he wants, what the team wants.
I think Sky has the trust of the other guys as far as they know that he's going to go out there and perform well because that's what he does. He's like probably the best performing American the last 5 years or so, and he just plays overall super high level at those events. And I think he's made it clear that he wants to pick Billy, and I think the team is behind that. So I think, just from observation and watching what's going on, online, I think Shane has a good relationship with Billy. I think Federer has a growing relationship with Billy, and Tyler's been on a winning team with Billy. So I think they understand what's available there. And I think overall, once you get the team together and clicking, these are guys that have experience getting over the line and can get over the line. The rest is whether or not they maximize themselves and their lineups for the cup and put out the best performers. So if anybody needs help with lineups this year, I'm happy to help out. So
yeah,
even Team Asia, I put together a mock lineup for day 1 for Asia.
And yes, Oscar did win 2009. That was right before the Europe basically started going on their
that was before I started going, and then everything changed.
That would have had.
I think that was
Dennis Hatch and Shane and
that was when
Corey and Johnny.
That was when Hatch got the MVP as a rookie MVP.
That was Hatch's MVP year, yeah. And
Johnny and Shane and Corey.
Fantastic Mosconi Cup. That got me pumped up just thinking about it. Good times.
But no, I would pick Oscar, but I think he'll pick Billy, and I don't think that it's a wrong pick. I think that gives the best chance of winning, not because he's playing better than Oscar, but because I think that he's just built for the Mosconi Cup in ways that Oscar can never be, because he's too even. Yeah, well, it's not that he doesn't have the competitive fervor. Oscar's going to make sure that Oscar's ready. And to be fair to Oscar, I thought he played the best of anybody in the Las Vegas year 2 years ago. I thought that there was no freaking way that Earl Strickland should have went out there for 5 matches or whatever it was on day 3. I think Oscar should have went out there for a lot more of those matches. But he was hidden.
They should have protected Earl more and kept him where he was only playing one or so matches, instead of having to play 2 or 3 in a row in certain scenarios. And again, that's a lineup issue. I think the last couple of years we've kind of struggled, I think, with lineups, and we've kind of made ourselves vulnerable. Yep. So I think the players have enough insight into what works and doesn't work. I'm expecting day 1 that you'll see Tyler and Federer go up in doubles. You'll see Billy play singles, and you'll see Shane and Sky play doubles. And then you'll have your team lineup. I think Sky goes up first. I think you put up Federer second. You put up Shane third. And I think you probably put
Tyler.
Well, you might want your anchor. So there's an argument for whether you want Tyler to anchor you or just put him up.
You could put Tyler third and Shane fourth.
Something like that. But probably Shane third, because you want Shane probably playing that extra round if it goes around. And so I would probably put Tyler, and then maybe put Billy as your anchor in the team game, and then
the fifth player never has a chance to play the second game. So whoever's fifth will never play a second game.
Correct, right? So that might be an example of protecting Billy a little bit, and not putting extra heat on him when you don't need to. That's a solid way to look at that. And then I would put Billy up singles first day, and then put Tyler and Federer first doubles, and Shane and Sky last doubles. That would be my lineup. And then for the Asian team, Chua as your leadoff guy, Chua, Beato, Ko, Duong, and Yap. And then I'm putting up Chua, Beato first doubles. I'm putting up Duong singles first day, and then I'm putting up Yap and Ko to close it out on day one.
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm in dead punch for captaincy. Let me tell you.
How about we do a giveaway?
Let's do that.
James Brinson's on here saying, how can you come up? How can you first person with the right answer when you're on the two different platforms? It's only Facebook that we're doing it on. So it'll be in the chat on Facebook. So if there's anybody on here just now.
Oh, why is that? Why is that the case?
Because, all right, are you going to watch YouTube?
They all come in through here. Rax is on here. James Brinson's on here, and
so all the comments we have in the chat beside us there from YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, so there's like where you look at the little picture. If you look to the bottom right, there's an F for Facebook, and there's the red one means YouTube. But we have Twitch in here too. I don't know if anybody's watching from Twitch or not.
James Brinson, you don't have to worry about it because all the chat comes through in here anyway. So it doesn't matter which platform you're watching it on. Your answer will come up on our screen.
We have one person that's watching right now on Twitch too. That
Yeah, I can see that now. Yeah. Okay. So shall we do it then?
Go on.
Right. Okay.
Well, why don't you explain one more time what you're giving away, just so we can give a little bit more publicity for Niels.
Last podcast, Neil sent me a message while we're on the podcast, and he offered to give one of his courses away. You see the link, terminatorcollege.com. That is Niels's link to his online college, which deals with the mental side of the game. Huge amount of information on there. You can purchase the entire course if you want, and you get everything included in it. It's a massive amount of information you get. It's for those of you who have taken coaching before. You maybe go around to a pool room and you have 2 hours with a pro, and then when your 2 hours is up, you're finished. With this, you get the whole course. You will get one-on-ones with Niels, and then you have the course, and it's there for the rest of your playing time. You can go back 2 months later. You go back to your course. You log in. You can look at all your stuff. You can reread stuff, update yourself again on stuff. If something changes within your mental state while you're playing, and you think this is now happening to me, there will be subject matter in there that will deal with that as well. There's a new part he's adding to this course all the time. There's a new part that he's added to it very, very recently about attitude. And this is the part that he is going to give away to one of our viewers. So I'm going to ask a question. The first one to give the correct answer that comes up on our screen here will win that course. We will put you in touch with Niels. He'll do a one-on-one with you. He will send you all the information. You get your own account. You can log in and go through this as many times as you want. Maybe you want to buy other parts of the course. If you want to have a look at what it all means, again, terminatorcollege.com. If you want to learn about jump shots, you go to Federer. If you want to learn about breaking, you go to Shane. If you want to learn about the mental side of the game, you go to Niels. He knows what he's talking about. I know a few people that have taken it. They thought it was fantastic. There's a bit in there for everybody, and he will tailor-make parts of the course for you and for your own needs. So it's a simple question. I've been sharing stuff on Facebook, and I've been sharing certain videos on Facebook. So if you've taken the time to actually watch the video, then you should be answering this very, very quickly. And it'll be the first one that pops up on my screen who can tell me how many European titles Niels had won in his career. If you watch the video, it should be very easy. How many European titles has Niels Fine won? Raymond, nope, still waiting for the right answer. And you cannot have multiple tries. Mitchell Menton. Oh, it's not Mitchell Menton. I know him. Mitchell Menton. I saw him 14. Just make sure that was the first one that said 14. There's a few coming through now.
Ray and I are being idiots.
Yeah, you are. You've ruined it. I can't see now. You're putting in all sorts of crap. I'm sorry.
I put it on the screen.
Michael Menton.
14 was the correct answer, and it's Mitchell Menton.
He beat me by this much.
Well, but
This much.
you're an idiot, Nate. You went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you still.
How do you know that was me?
Because it says host.
Well, you're a host too. Maybe.
But I know I'm not doing it.
Well, maybe I'm not doing it.
Okay, so the correct answer is 14 European titles Niels has won. So congratulations to Mitchell, and we will get you in touch with Niels as soon as possible, and you win this course. And we'd like to get you, if possible, on the podcast at some time, and let us know how it went and what you thought of it. And that was that. Thanks to Niels. Niels, appreciate it, buddy. Thank you very much. I actually spoke to him tonight. He just landed in Alicante before we went on air. He's there with his family having a well-needed rest and a little holiday. Dom, nice. Yeah, 14 is correct, but you're about 40 answers too late, unfortunately.
Yeah, I gotta go talk to Neil, see if he can help me get my head out of my butthole. And
apparently, I mean, I know a few folk that have taken the course and they really, really appreciated it. There's a lot in there. And the big advantage, like I said, you can keep going back to 6 months from now. You can start to notice you're falling back into certain patterns again. You just go back to go through the course one more time or certain parts of it, and it just brings you back up to speed and refreshes you again. Yeah, very good.
Well, while we're talking, Niels is not a sponsor. However, he gave us this giveaway, and we're happy to give it away. But let's talk while we are here about the sponsors that do sponsor the podcast. So, Jacoby Custom Cues, the best cue company out there for my money. They do a lot, give back a ton to the industry. They sponsor a ton of players. They sponsor a ton of events, and they just do a absolute ton to make sure that the industry is alive and thriving. So, we'll run this little ad on the awesome Cue of the Year that won Cue of the Year a few years ago. And thank you to Jacoby for sponsoring the podcast.
Wasn't that nice?
It feels appropriate.
I'm feeling all zen now.
Absolutely. There it is. We will also give a shout out to the rest of our sponsors: Insight Performance Coaching, Billiards Digest, Salado, Digital Pool, Onboard Sportswear, Reyes Bicep, Horo Tips, and Littman Lights.
Reyes Bicep?
Saw that? Getting ready, boys. Getting ready for next year's Mosconi Cup so I can be an enforcer. I don't even have to
thunder and a little lightning.
Well, you've given up on being a player, have you?
No, definitely not. It's expensive getting out there. I need a backer. God.
Yeah. So I don't know what.
Who's going to win the Reyes Cup?
Yeah, we have the final teams for the Reyes Cup. We got Johann, Chua, Aloysius Yap, Coping Yi, Robbie Capito. Oh, no, not Robbie Capito. I'm going down the line, so they didn't qualify. Carlo Beato and Dong Kwok. On the
European side?
Asian side, we have, for the Asian side, for the European side, we got Kachi, no longer filler, it was filler, but David Al-Qaidi, Mickey Kraus, blank Gang,
Jason.
and
Jason
then
Shaw.
Jason. Yeah, Jason
Yeah,
and FSR. Yep. So
Did he pick FSR already?
Yeah,
He hasn't made the pick, has he?
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
pick has been made. So I guess starting out, who's got the advantage on roster? You think, right?
Overall roster, Team Asia has the advantage. Mickey is a great player. He's playing great this year, but I don't think you would pick him above any of the Asian players at the moment on a 1v1.
Aloysius Yap, I think Aloysius Yap, I would.
You are drinking like fermented yogurt from a tree somewhere that is like not.
Can you get fermented yogurt from a tree?
He's found it somewhere in wherever he lives. I don't know if you guys.
I need a yogurt tree in my garden.
Mickey's playing great. He's not playing 820 great. So no, incorrect. But it's a race to 5. It's a race to 5. So he's playing awesome. He's got a lot of momentum and confidence right now, and he's got the pearls. The pearls are also very nice, I think, and he's qualified for both sides. So,
It's like if you order Thor from Wish.
if you order who from Wish?
Thor.
Thor? No, yeah, maybe from like Temu.
Timu. Yeah, Thor from Timu. He's playing great pool.
Playing great pool, yeah.
I got to agree a little bit with Nate. I mean, yes, they had 3 players in the final 4 of the Hanoi Open, so they've got 3 guys that are in dead stroke that are in good form.
Yeah.
But the other 2 went out early and to not really, those 800 Fargo players kind of thing, I don't know.
Lost to that English 8-ball player, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Mickey has been putting in a lot of work, and I love that he's matching up constantly when he was over there. I think that's, he's doing everything he needs to do to be sharp, and he's very positive, and he's a team guy. I don't think and he's surrounded now by other guys who have a ton of experience, like, the 2 Spaniards, Jason and Kachi. Kachi hasn't really played his best in Mosconi Cup stuff.
He hasn't played in one for a while.
No, he hasn't played in one for a while. And when I think about team dynamics, I worry about him not being a gelling point.
See, people talk about that, but I don't really think that's a thing.
It's more of like a cultural thing. Albanians are rough. You know what I mean? They're like, they're not.
He's a very cold, emotionless player. Kind of thing.
And I think it suits him. Obviously,
yes, it suits him. But when he's on teams with, okay, I know Filler's not going to be there, but when he's on teams with characters like Jason and Filler, then it's very difficult for them to, they're not really bouncing off him. They like to bounce off each other a little bit, kind of thing, and Kachi, there's no bounce with Kachi, just like. There is no bounce.
He's not really like the jovial reciprocal type.
But he is a very fun guy off the table, and which is a bit okay. But I mean, I think, for Mickey, yes, he's playing great, but you never know until you're out there.
Yeah,
and even Jason, who's cemented himself as, he'll end up going down when his career's over as a Mosconi Cup legend in the double figures and above of appearances in Mosconi Cups.
Yeah, he's going to catch up to Johnny sooner than later. I'm not sure how many. Shane gets the record this year, doesn't he?
Yeah. But he's struggled in his first couple of years. He struggled to balance the emotional side with the playing side.
And Kachi's such a great player. Like, he just does everything right. And you need somebody that's emphasizing control. When you have a guy like Jason who's super power, is kind of like, so I don't know. It'll be an interesting match. I think it'll be interesting to see how Mickey plays and see how the Asian crowd shows up. We have a standard for how the Europeans show up. We know what that's like because they're a well-oiled machine when it comes to.
It'll be interesting to see how many of them actually have made the trip.
Huh? Oh, you mean to the Philippines?
Yeah, because I mean, Me, for example,
Filipinos there. There's going to be a lot of Filipinos there.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, how much of a crowd is there going to be on the European side? Because we've all paid our money to go to Mosconi Cup. and not everybody's in the position to go to the States for Mosconi Cup and also go to Manila a month before or 2 months before to a Reyes Cup.
I think the Europeans are walking into hostile territory.
Yes, and it's the first time, so you're never really sure if it's going to be good or not, or what. I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be fantastic. I think it'll be a great atmosphere. I'm very interested to see how the Asian players handle this because they've never done it before.
Right.
When was it? Ask Carl Leandro last time he played a race to 5 in any tournament anywhere.
And to your point too, I think one of the things I thought about, like when thinking about how do you put together an Asian team, like those are different cultures and different languages, Tagalog to Taiwanese, to Cantonese or Chinese to Vietnamese, like those are different languages. And so they are, at least the Europeans have English, And
I noticed in the press conference, I mean, I knew that the Efren's English wasn't amazing. It wasn't great, but I was surprised by how little he actually does speak. So how does Efren as a captain communicate with the rest of his team?
No chance.
I mean, he can communicate with 2 of them.
I didn't like the pick of the idea of putting Efren as a captain. I thought that was incorrect.
It had to be though, didn't it?
No, I think you have him sit on the throne and
maybe.
I agree.
This is for me, and then you have a team Asian captain, and you have Carl.
I would have loved to see I'd have loved to see Bustamante as the captain. If you're gonna make it a player, make it a different Filipino legend, and just worship Efren for what he is.
Yeah, I don't like putting Efren in a position to lose.
I like putting Dennis Arcoyo or Bustamante in there.
Yeah,
personally,
somebody somebody who's going to be just a face that's going to be there, can offer good strategic stuff, and obviously Efren can do that. But I don't like the idea of honoring him by putting him in a position to lose against a team who's done it over and over and over again. And I just don't like, even if they win, like even if whoever wins, like if Asia loses, then Efren's the face of the team that lost, but it's his cup. To me, it takes away from the whole point of what we're doing by honoring him. So I think,
and at some stage you end up having to take the captaincy off him as well, which will never be a nice thing.
Yeah, which is also disrespectful because the cup's named after. Like, don't even put him in that position to begin with. Make it about him, honor him, like he's a living legend. We didn't get that chance with Mosconi. Like, we're honoring one of the greats of the game. Let him fucking sit at the top of the throne and bring somebody else in to get in there and fight, and he can just enjoy,
prize giving and just there to sign autographs.
Take people's hands. Everybody's there to see him. It's beautiful. It's on it, but you're not making him. To me, it's not. It's.
That's why I feel like Bustamante would be a good option.
Great, yeah,
because Boosty's not quite the level that Efren was, but I mean, he's not far behind.
No, and he's been there, forever, and the whole, I think that.
And his English is substantially better as well.
Yeah, and and he's a face for the Philippines to ignite behind another legend. They get to that's exciting for the fans and the crowd. To me, that makes way more sense.
All right, Jim.
But what do we have for a score? Do you think?
Well, who do you have for the roster advantage, Jim?
I think it's 50-50. Because I think there's 2 players that are weak at the moment in Team Asia, and they've never done it before. Whereas I think FSR is playing well just now. Jason's playing well just now. Mickey's playing well just now. David's playing well just now. Kachi had a tough Hanoi Open, but I expect him to perform when he's there. And they've done it before, So I think it's
probably make a little bit of the favorite,
I make Europe overall a slight favorite.
11-8, 11-9, something like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking it'll be a close match, but I think Europe are going to win it. Yeah.
I think Asia wins. I think Asia wins.
You were going to say?
Well, like 11-6, 11-7, something like that. You can't just. I do not believe that Ackland Koch is going to be ready for this. You just cannot tell me that you are going to play next to zero competitive pool for 4 months straight, and all of the rest of your competitors are in the box, grinding, and you're just going to be able to pick up right where you left off. You just can't tell me that that's going to happen. I don't believe it. I think that Eklund Koch he's gonna struggle. I mean, I think that's probably the limits of the struggle, but I just don't see that side of it. And I think the home field advantage, plus I think that I do honestly think that Ko Ping-yi and Johann, Chua and Carlo Beato, given the fact that they are going to have maybe not Ko Ping-yi as much, but just Johann and Carlo, they're going to have so much extra energy being in the Filipinos. I think Team Asia wins. And you can protect Yap a little bit. I think he's not playing his best pool right now. I think you can protect him.
Which is kind of funny to think, because if you just show...
Yeah, no, we're protecting Yap. We're protecting the guy that qualified first.
Yeah. That's funny.
Raymond, who wins?
I'm rooting for Team Asia because at this point of the year, I can't stand anything European.
Don't be such a hater.
No, it's out of respect and admiration, probably more than anything. I hope Asia wins 11-8. We'll go there.
I'll go 11-7.
I'm going for a European double. We take down the Asians, and then we're coming over to get you boys.
Jim, how sad are you going to be if Europe loses
the world?
twice?
Here's the one thing it makes me more upset the more I think about it, is that they get a primer, a warm-up for Mosconi right before against...
And you know what? You guys will get it next year.
But maybe, I don't know, can help. Jesus Christ.
I don't think it's going to be... I don't think it will continue to be the winner playing against Asia.
I would very much like to see Team USA in scrapping matches soon.
I think they'll alternate it. I don't think they'll play winner stays on. I think they'll alternate it.
Yeah, it'd be huge. It'd be awesome to go to.
I think hopefully, ultimately, it's going to be a Team Europe, a Team USA, a team, we'll say Oceania, which would include the Philippines, and then a Team Asia, which would not include the Philippines. And it'd be nice to see a 4-person round robin type of thing.
I just want to give credit, I think, as well, before we wrap up. I want to give credit to Mickey Kraus, because for the last 4 or 5 years we've talked about who's going to be that first European to break into the roster of like the entrenched guys who are locked in and earning the Mosconi. It feels like it's been like pretty much
30 to 40 picks, and you did not came up with Mickey.
Nobody came up with Mickey Kraus. No.
Or this year you would never have picked his name, and he's just gone to the moon and really like put in a ton of work and improved. And not only did he qualify, he got the golden opportunity, Reyes Cup and Mosconi Cup back to back. Like, talk about collecting on. I don't know what the payouts are.
That's why I just think you're wrong that you think he's not playing it at an 820 level. His Fargo may not catch up to it, but I if you take the last 6 months of his Fargo, I bet it's at 820.
He's playing great. He is playing great. I just and he's in the mix and he's doing all the right things. I think he's on an upward trajectory for sure. But to me, it's just honestly just a lots of hard work that goes into that stuff, and it finally is paying off for him. I'm not sure what the payouts are for Reyes Cup, but still, he's in short order going to collect a bunch of money and is going to be rewarded for his efforts.
You know what makes me laugh? During COVID, I played a lot of online tournaments during COVID on my table and with my camera, and I'd be playing against players all over the world and playing in different tournaments. And there was one tournament that myself and Mickey Kraus played in regularly, and we both had the same handicap in that tournament. And this was during COVID. And look where the kid is now. He won't be getting that. He won't be getting the same handicap against me if we play again. I promise you that.
Right. No, the kid's playing great. So, and
and you know what? We're talking about giving away the giveaway to Niels. Niels Fine gets a lot of credit for the way Mickey is playing now and what Mickey has learned over the last years, because the two of them, they battle against each other and they spar against each other regularly in Denmark. Mickey comes down to Niels' place, and I think Mickey has learned a lot about the game, and he's grown up and matured through spending a lot of time with Niels.
It's funny because I look at where I'm at now, and I look at the things I need to improve the next level, and to me, it comes down to getting proximal saturation with an 800 level player on a regular basis. And I know that's the difference between you can be in this range where you're good enough to beat anybody, but you're not really there yet. You know what I mean? And then that jump that when like what Mickey just made is getting in that proximal relationship with somebody who's a high 700-800 player who's going to penalize the little mistakes. It's not even like the huge. It's like this extra inning that you made this thing. You're gonna
mistakes that you didn't even know you'd made until
they
until it was too late.
because they have the ability to punish you in that area, and so that's where the ahas come, and you tighten up these little extra things because it's not really like you're not gaining big skills. You're really just eliminating the details, the little you're really finessing and fine tuning and wrinkling, ironing out, and so that is like fantastic that you have. And also Niels is just like a pleasure to be around. He's a gentleman and a nice guy,
and he genuinely wants to help players as well. He won't feel bad that now Mickey's getting the limelight, or that he's going
to be super proud.
Be happy for him.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the kind of people that's like best case scenario. You get around those players when you're ready to receive it, and good for him. Congratulations. And Niels is again a gentleman, super sweet guy to be around. So.
Well, I guess with that we can probably close it out, huh?
Congratulations again to Mitchell. I'll be in touch with you.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yep. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in and partaking in the comments and sharing the podcast and doing all the things that you guys do to help us not only